welcome to the Warrior's Promise, where we unlock the path to reclaiming your personal power. I'm your host, Victoria Islas, a master trainer, functional health coach, energy healer, and metaphysical practitioner, guiding you through a journey of strength from the inside out. We're going to explore how movement, nutrition, and mindset can help you take back control of your life. This isn't just about fitness or food. This is about healing on all levels, physically, mentally, and spiritually. It's about tapping into your warrior spirit and using that power to face life's challenges with resilience, grace, and confidence. So take a deep breath, stand tall, and let's step into the strength that's already within you. Welcome back to the Warrior's Promise. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that doesn't get talked about enough, and that is insulin resistance. All right. My name is Coach Victoria Islas, master trainer and health coach here at stillmacewarrior.com. I also have a great membership for those that are Still Mace enthusiasts or people just getting into Still Mace training. And you can check that out in the description below. But other than that, a lot of people assume that this is only something that diabetics need to worry about, right? When you hear insulin resistance. But the truth is, you could be insulin resistant without even knowing it. Right. And this can have such a big impact on your energy, your metabolism, and even your ability to lose weight. And by the way, I feel like I got something a little stuck in my throat. Just had breakfast and it was great. But, anyways, this when it comes to insulin resistance and in this episode, we're going to just break it down. All right. So we're going to go into what insulin resistance actually is, just a little simple breakdown of that, the signs to look out for, symptoms, things like that, and how it connects to things like blood sugar spikes and even fatty liver. So I've been diagnosed with fatty liver in the past. Thankfully, through lifestyle changes and exercise, I was able to get rid of it altogether. But we're really going to tap into fatty liver. It's actually very common in the population right now. So that's going to be fun to talk about. And then I'm going to show you the best ways to check where you stand, right, with the subject of insulin resistance. So as always, we're going to take a holistic, sustainable approach in this podcast as well. And just to keep things balanced when it comes to the body. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So let's start with the basics. What is insulin resistance? Insulin is technically just a hormone that helps regulate blood sugar. And when you eat carbs or any kind of sugar, your body releases insulin to help shuttle that sugar into your cells for energy. But when your body starts ignoring insulin signals, that sugar stays in your bloodstream longer, leading to higher blood sugar levels and eventually, this is the bad part, metabolic issues. And this is what we call insulin resistance, okay? And here's the thing, you don't have to be diabetic to have insulin resistance. It often develops years before someone gets diagnosed with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. And just many people right now are walking around with it and they don't even realize it, okay? So this is going to be a great episode to maybe self-reflect and see if you need to look more into that, okay? So we answered what is insulin resistance. Now let's look into the signs of insulin resistance. How do you know you're dealing with it? So these are some common signs. Frequent energy crashes. So like you're feeling exhausted after you have meals instead of energized. You have the typical like, oh, I had such a heavy meal or whatever. But there's also this other version of it where you're feeling super exhausted, right? And that definitely can be a sign. Then you've got the unexplained weight gain, especially around the belly. So if you're gaining a lot of weight and then you're seeing it kind of just appear, in your belly area, that could be a sign. Then we've got intense sugar or carb cravings, like you're going crazy, like craving, I don't know, a Snicker bar or something as light as like potatoes. So if you're having this intense sugar carb craving, that could be a sign. Then we've got brain fog and difficulty focusing. I hear a lot of people say that they have brain fog. It's actually very, very common nowadays, and a lot of people associate it with COVID. And in some cases, that can be it with the long COVID symptoms, but it can also be insulin resistance, believe it or not. So if you're having brain fog and difficulty focusing, that could be one thing. Then we've got darkened patches of skin. These dark patches of skin can be around the neck and the armpits. So if you look in the mirror and you find some dark patches, that could be a sign. Having high triglycerides and low HDL, which is your good cholesterol, when those come back on your blood test, could be a sign of that. And then obviously, what we talked about earlier, one of the biggest one is fatty liver. If your doctor has ever mentioned that you have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, that's often linked to insulin resistance. And I'm going to pop up an article here that like blew my mind. It's from the Yale School of Medicine. And you can check this out at medicine.yale.edu. And I'll go ahead and add the link to this in the description below so that you can check it out. But when we talk about liver, we can be talking about very small amounts, and that will have such an impact on the body with insulin resistance, and can even be related to having cardiometabolic risk factors in the future. And that's what this article and this study is all about. It's called Small Amounts of Liver Fat Lead to Insulin Resistance and Increased Cardiometabolic Risk Factors. And I'm just going to go ahead and take a little snippet out of this article slash study, but it says in the GCI Insight paper, they compared the group with liver fat content between 1.85 and 5.56% to the group with less than 1.85%, and found that liver fat content above 1.85% was associated with insulin resistance and risk for cardiovascular disease. And the crazy thing is that this study was done in young, lean, and healthy people. Just a little slight increase of 1.85, like if you hit that 1.85%, and that's what the title of this article is, small amounts of liver fat can really wreak havoc on the body. And it's a great indicator of whether or not you should get checked for this. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add that article in the description below, so you can just check it out yourself, and it's gonna blow your mind. But that study really opened my mind when it comes to the fatty liver part of it. Okay, so we went into signs of insulin resistance. Let's talk about how insulin resistance affects weight loss, because I told you that all of March was going to be on the topic of weight loss and why the body holds on to weight. And you've tried everything and you're just like, it's not working. Or maybe you fluctuated in weight, like maybe you lost a lot of weight and then it came back on really quickly. So I felt like March was a great month to talk more about weight loss. Even if I'm the still Mace girl, I just really wanted to get into talk, because a lot of time when people pick up a still Mace, they also have weight loss goals, right? So I thought it was a great subject to get into. But so let's talk about weight loss. If you've been struggling to lose weight despite eating clean, and I don't like really using the word clean, but you know what I mean, right? Eating well and working out. Insulin resistance could be a hidden factor. If you know you're getting, you're hitting the right calorie deficit, maybe, you're eating healthier and you're working out like 5 times a week, and it's just like something's going on there, right? You're feeling like, what the hell? You're you're seeing the scale and it's just not coming down, right? So we know there is an underlining root cause to this. In the last episode, I talked about the emotional and the energetic root cause for things like that. Now, this time we're going into maybe there's some underlining issue you need to come up with or that you need to look into. I'm sorry. So pretty much when your cells just don't respond to insulin properly, your body ends up storing more fat instead of burning it for energy. And this can lead to stalled weight loss, plateaus, really crazy plateaus. And even if you're doing everything right, insulin resistance is a fucker. Okay. So, obviously, on top of that, insulin resistance can cause blood sugar spikes and crashes, which make you feel a lot hungrier or more likely to overeat, right? So, let's get into, what are the best ways to get checked, right? So, I can talk about this all day, but like, how do we know if we're really having some sensitivity here, right? You can go to your doctor and you can ask them to do a fasting insulin test, and they should be able to tell you whether or not that insulin looks right. So obviously going to a doctor, getting lab work done is number one, right? And then my favorite one, if for whatever reason, let's say that fasting insulin test came out like okay, but you still want to go the extra mile and get checked just in case, and you want to gather data, I absolutely recommend a continuous glucose monitor. These are just amazing tools for tracking your blood sugar patterns throughout the day. It gives you a real-time insight into how your body responds to food, to stress, and pretty much to sleep, okay? And that's what's awesome about these monitors. If it's just a stress and sleep, I would recommend a Whoop. I recently got myself a Whoop, and I wear it every day, and it's changed my life when it comes to my autoimmune disorder and when it comes to like strain and recovery. Those are really big things for me. Even for performance, it lets me know where I'm at, right? And so I'm really big on data. I'm also really big on like, let's take the guessing out, right? Like, I love food journaling. It is a great, inexpensive way to do things, right? To get to know yourself, to get to see what's going on. But it's also a really long process, and sometimes it's not as accurate. I'm a big person on data. I'm a big person on lab work. I'm a big person on, monitoring things. That's why I have a Whoop. That's why I recommend these glucose monitors. Again, what's really cool is that you put this this device on your arm and you leave it on, and you get to see, oh shit, when I ate this carb, right, or this food, I saw a sugar spike. You see it instantly, you know what I mean? So that's very different than me journaling and like guessing and going, well, I felt fatigued after this, but not so sure, or I felt fine. Maybe you felt completely fine, and you're just like thinking in your head that you're not having an insulin sensitivity. But with these glucose monitors, you'll see whether or not how that food is affecting you, how that food's affecting the blood sugar. Okay. So, the one that I recommend that's super affordable is called Lingo, and you can check that out at hellolingo.com. So I really hope that, this episode is going to give you some value there. Okay. So definitely go check that out. Now, me, I'm all about, holistic approaches to everything. You'll hear me say it on this podcast all the time. So I'm going to give you some holistic solutions. And here's the good news. Insulin resistance can be improved. Fatty liver can be improved, and obviously even reversed with lifestyle changes. And here are some of the best strategies that I have for you. Focus on protein and fiber. Eating protein and fiber with your meals helps slow down blood sugar spikes, and it keeps you full and steady throughout the day. Don't disregard fat and carbs, but focus on getting more protein in there, focus on getting more fiber. Then you've got strength training and movement. Obviously, this is where steel mace training comes in, or kettlebells, or any type of unconventional modality. You know me, I'm always going to advocate that, but you can hit up the gym as well. But resistance training and daily movement help your muscles use up that excess glucose and improve your insulin sensitivity. I have a client that actually struggles with this. And my number one thing that I tell him is like, one thing is going to the gym, for an hour and then sitting down for the rest of the day, right? We need to continue trying to improve movement, activity, even when we're around the house, when we're outside of the gym, right? When we're out and about. I would recommend walking and getting, over 8,000 steps every day. This also will help. So I'm just saying, keep moving, keep moving. It helps with not storing that glucose and improving the insulin sensitivity. Then we've got managing stress and sleep. High stress and poor sleep raise cortisol levels, which we've talked about in the last episode. And this can worsen the insulin resistance, right? So that dang cortisol comes in and creeps in on a lot of things. Prioritizing your rest and your sleep is definitely key. This is one that I see a lot of people struggle with. And I guarantee that if out of this list, if you're struggling with stress and sleep, I would try to hit this one up the most. I think it makes the best, not the best outcome, but it's one of those important ones, especially if you're, chronically not sleeping or have a weird fucking schedule with your sleep. You need to fix that. Just period. And then we've got strategic carb intake. So, again, you don't have to cut out carbs to begin with. If you have that glucose monitor, even better, because you'll get to see which carbs affect you, which ones don't. But it's just focusing on whole food sources when it comes to carbs. If you have really bad insulin sensitivity, then that's when the glucose monitor comes into play even more importantly, because we want to see if all carbs do that, then maybe doing a very minimal low carb or even a keto diet would work. But sweet potatoes, quinoa, legumes, try that instead of, processed sugars or processed foods, right? Most processed foods that you find in the aisle, like cereal, for example, it's crap. And, it's pure sugar when it gets through your body. So, and cereal is such a bad example, because I'm pretty sure many of you hopefully are not eating a cereal for breakfast. But yes, just stick to whole food sources. It really makes a big difference when it comes to the carb intake. And then finally, intermediate fasting. Some people have seen major improvements in insulin sensitivity with time-restricted eating. But this for sure isn't for everyone. So you just have to listen to your body. But there have been some cases where it helps with kind of resetting the body. And I would say, with most of these things that I just mentioned, these holistic approaches, it will help reset the body. And it's going to take a bit, right? Because it's holistic. It's going to take a bit for it to work. But the main thing is to keep consistent. Most people will start to see improvements with their overall health if they start implementing lifestyle medicine after 3 months. And then they start feeling really good after 6, and then after the year. Hopefully with behavioral changes, they get their health back in shape. Okay. So to wrap things up, insulin resistance is way more common than people think, and it can affect everything from energy levels to weight loss. But the good news, there's just so much you can do to improve it naturally. Obviously, those strategies that I shared with you. And if you suspect, you have insulin resistance that might be holding you back, consider getting some blood work done with your doctor. Try getting a glucose monitor, see how your body responds to food. And just remember, small, sustainable changes can make a huge difference in keeping your metabolism healthy. And again, I just shared some strategies with you. Don't try to do them all at once. Do them little by little. Take one, see how it works. Take the other, and you should be good to go. But anyways, I hope this episode gave you some valuable insights. I always give homework. You know what the homework is. And if you found this helpful, just be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Maybe you know someone who's been struggling with their weight for a long time, and this could possibly change their lives. So thank you so much for tuning in. I will catch you next time. And don't forget, I do have coaching services available now. It's open for applications. And, if you want to come through, I'm always here for you. And I'll see you in the next episode.